All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. It's a regular meeting of the Hamilton County Commission, November 7th, 2019. At the top of the agenda, I am going to make a motion to excuse Commissioner Portun.
Second.
Commissioner Greenhouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer?
Yes.
Thank you. So by way of introductions, Leslie Hervey is the clerk to the commission. She is to my right. To my immediate left is Stephanie Summer-Adumas, the vice president of the commission. Next to her is Jeff Aludo, the county, and my aide Fatima, thank you, so I can see. County Administrator Jeff Aludo and legal counsel Michael Friedman is at the end of the dais. We start our meetings with a silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand if you can. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'm going to move that we approve of the minutes of the previous session.
Second.
Commissioner Greenhouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer?
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda are comments and motions from commissioners. Commissioner Summer-Adumas.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple things today. I attended the Community Action Agency luncheon last week. They have a fairly new CEO. He's doing a lot of dynamic things, so I thank him so much. He was just in the meeting that I completed, the Family and Children's First Council, and he is a member of that. But I also would like the public to know this council looks at grants that have been distributed and how best to distribute those grants. And I just wanted to mention some of the people or some of the agencies that are part of the Family and Children's First Council. Children's Hospital, the Health Department, Hamilton County Health Department, the Mental Health Services Agency, United Way, Juvenile Court, Department of Disability, Job and Family Services, and then we have one parent rep. And so we are in need of 2 additional parent reps. If you're interested, you can contact my office, 946-4400 extension 3, and we'll tell you what some of the requirements are as far as a parent. My understanding, if you have a child or adult who is disabled, who is receiving services, we certainly would prefer that. But if not, give us a call. And then also, I had a meeting with Mayor Cranley last week, and it was a very, I think, positive meeting. A lot of productive things that we talked about as it relates to some issues that the county is going to be working on. So that will end my report, Madam President.
Okay, great. Thank you. I just have a couple of things. Happy post-election day to everyone, and congratulations to the folks that won throughout Hamilton County and all the school boards and the local elections, and a big thank you to those that ran, whether they won or not, because we need people to step up and run for elected office. And we get fuller and fuller by way of our ballots as the elections go. So I do want to thank the folks that ran, being willing to put themselves out there to try to participate in public service. Couple things I want to announce. One is there was I think it was yesterday, a press conference yesterday about Billy Joel coming to the Great American Ballpark on September 11th, 2020, so next year. Billy Joel does these concerts at ballparks throughout the country, and we are a relatively small market because of the size of our stadium, but he's coming, and it's really exciting. We talked about how Billy Joel is like a multi-generational artist, where I remember as a teenager laying on the floor listening to Billy Joel records, literally when they were records. So I'm a little older than some of you up here. And my son, who's 31, using the Piano Man as his karaoke go-to song. So, I want to say that maybe because I listened to Billy Joel for so long, my son was indoctrinated. But anyway, it's really exciting, not only because Billy Joel's coming, but people will be going to restaurants and bars. They'll be getting rooms in hotels from, they'll come from all over the region. So it was exciting, to be with Phil Castellini and Johnny Bench to announce this, and so tickets go on sale later on this month, and Live Nation is the one promoting this. So anyway, you can go to their website and find the information, but it should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Also, speaking of music, we had a breakthrough with the city, speaking of John Cranley and the council, related to the music venue. And so our expectation is that the zone change that's necessary for the music venue to move forward will be on the council calendar in a couple of weeks. We have a cooperative agreement that we're working on that will be completed by then, and that will allow us to move forward with the city related to the music venue. So that was good news. I know we all played a part in that, so very excited to have that move forward and have that open on time in the fall of next year. And then lastly, had the opportunity to go to an adoption ceremony across the street. Judge Winkler, I think it's once a year, has an adoption ceremony with more than one family. And so I believe it was 10 families adopting 14 children. And there were a lot of tissues used. There were a lot of tears, a lot of excitement and emotion related to the families who had been fostering these children and now adopting the children. So it was a really, really neat event. And a big thank you to all the families that are willing to provide adoptive care for the kids in need in this community. It was just a fantastic event. It was really neat. So I do, and kudos to Judge Winkler and all the work that he's been doing and all the advocates over in the courthouse. Jeff Aludo, you've got some by-leaves for us, I believe.
I do have just a couple of by-leaves, real quick, a comment just very quickly. I wanted to provide the board with a very brief update on work related to the dog warden services. So we are currently, as I reported to the board, in one of our prior meetings, we're working with the sheriff on a proposal from the sheriff as it relates to the handling of enforcement and licensing enforcement and stray management services. We are awaiting a second proposal from the sheriff on those same services. You might remember that I highlighted the fact that we had some questions on levels of service as it relates to that. As it relates to the sheriff's proposal. So we're going to be getting a second proposal that will help reconcile some of that. We are also working with local volunteers as well as our local internal architectural partners, reviewing the kenneling operations out on Coleraine Avenue to determine, as we look to assume kenneling and sheltering operations, what is the best way forward in terms of renovating or redeveloping, leasing, buying, et cetera, so that we can transition this service in early 2020. So I would imagine as we get into December, early mid-December, we'll be coming back to the board with a more formal plan and schedule following the receipt of the sheriff's proposal and some more due diligence into the sheltering operations and the kenneling as to how we best move forward. It likely will continue to involve some level of transition with the SPCA, but ultimately to get into a situation where we are off on and running on a new business model as it relates to our responsibilities under the code to handle dog warden functions. So I just wanted to make sure the board was aware of that. I also want to thank John Brugan for his continued work on this. John came in. So thank John for his continued work on this. He's really pulled the lion's share of the effort on this. So I want to thank him for it.
Thank you for the update.
And I do have a couple of by-leaves. These are relating, I believe, to a couple of matters that are actually on your agenda. The first is I'll take them, just go in order that they're on my desk here. This relates to the festive court vacation. And this is the notification of a public hearing. Set the hearing for this vacation. I believe James Noyes is here. Ted Hubbard is also here. So I wanted to bring this forward for the board's approval. Ted, were you going to speak to this at all in terms of setting the notice for the public hearing, or I didn't know if you or James or Bob were going to hit this?
Well, either one of us could do it. We're just setting the viewing and hearing date, and we're resetting it. That's what we're so that we can comply with the law and make sure that proper public notice is given.
Thank you.
So the new date then is November 19th.
I believe that is correct, yes.
Okay, so that'll be at a staff meeting.
Yeah, 19th day of November, that is correct.
That's when the hearing
Okay.
date will be correct.
Very good. Thank you.
And that was originally scheduled for today, I believe, so that's also on your agenda under public hearings canceling, but we're also then resetting the date for the public hearing on the 19th of November. So the administration does recommend approval.
Okay, so I will move then that we approve of the date change for the public hearing related to the vacation of festive court.
Second.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes,
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Thank you. We're good. Thank you very much.
okay.
Thank you, Ted. The second item is really just to receive for the record. I know Jack Rennekamp is here. This is related to the Maple Knoll Sewer Assessment Project. There was a 5-day period following the close of the public hearing when the public had to provide comments, and this was the one comment that was received, so I submit it for the record. And Jack is here, Jack Rennekamp from MSD is here to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
I have no questions.
Okay. Thank you for being here, Jack, but we're not going to ask you any questions. All right.
And those, I believe that completes my bylaws, Commissioners. Yes, sorry.
Thank you. All right. We have a public hearing scheduled, but I also just got a speaker's card. And so Jeff Mills is here. Hello, how are you? Why don't you come forward? Which related to the public hearing. Oh, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to move then that we open the public hearing to consider the proposed name change of Heritage Way Drive to Dale Woods Way in Colerain Township.
Second.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we have one speaker. Jeff Mills is going to speak to us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I just very briefly just wanted to say thank you for taking this matter into consideration. It means an awful lot to our community. There are no addresses on the current Heritage Way, so it won't cause any trouble. This is really just a way to recognize Mr. Woods for his service.
Could you go into just a little bit of an explanation about Dale Woods?
Sure. So earlier this year, Dale was, while investigating a traffic accident, Dale Woods was struck on Colerain Avenue, and the injuries that he sustained ended up taking his life. And so it was our first police line of duty death in a long time. It really struck a chord with our community. It hit home pretty hard, and we're still sort of recovering and dealing with the emotions that something like this sort of brings. And this is a way that we can memorialize his service and sort of in perpetuity thank him. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Have you had any, I assume the community is aware of what you're trying to do here. Have you gotten public comments?
We haven't, and just to give you a sense of where this is located, our administration building is located at 4200 Springdale Road, and the driveway that you use to come into our administration building is currently called Heritage Way. That's why there aren't any addresses on it, and so it's really the front door of our administration building. But certainly, I can't imagine anyone would have an issue with it.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was.
We haven't done I don't believe we've done a formal
Okay,
public hearing on it yet.
okay, all right, great. Any comments or questions?
Madam Chair, is there a necessity to have more than one public hearing?
Jeff, I don't believe so. Mm-mm.
No, on this matter, I think it's one public hearing for a name change on a street,
Right.
but we can confirm that, but I think it's just one public hearing.
I would like to move to approve.
Yeah, well, we would, so we can move to close the hearing and then have a resolution in front of us at our next meeting, so, all right, well, thank you.
Thanks for your
Thank you for bringing this to us, and so I'm going to move that we close the hearing and have the administration bring a resolution forward at our next meeting next Thursday to approve of this name change.
Second.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks for being here. That's the easiest public hearing we've had in a long time. All right, the next hearing was the festive court, and it has been rescheduled. We have a regular agenda item from the engineer. Oh, Bob's here.
We'll resubmit a new report for the time of the hearing.
Okay, so this agenda item is related to festive court, and so we will postpone it until the Tuesday meeting related to festive court.
It's basically, I believe it's going to be the same report.
Okay.
Just dated for that, on that date.
Okay, all right, so why don't I move then to hold item number 1 on the regular agenda until, I believe it was the 19th of November, the staff meeting.
Second.
Commissioner Dreehouse? Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. We've got just a few consent agenda items. Numbers 2 through 5 are related to environmental services, and I've asked Holly to give us just a little bit of background because all 4 of them are very similar to one another. And so could you help us better understand these 4?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Good evening, good afternoon. The Solid Waste District, I'm sure many of you are aware, their mission is to reduce reliance on landfills. And starting with their new solid waste management plan update, they now have grants available for communities, nonprofits, schools, and businesses to identify ways and projects they can reduce reliance on landfills. And this is new for them. It's a continual grant. So they're taking applications on a rolling basis. They used to only allow applications one time a year. This provides better service for their partners. So what you have in front of you today are 4 applications, again, focused on waste reduction, reuse, or recycling, and that also hopefully reach a significant amount of people, are some of their criteria. So what we have in front of you today, we have Lincoln Heights Elementary, who is going to be getting a new water refilling station. These, I'm sure you've seen in schools now, so students can use reusable water bottles as opposed to using single-serve disposable. And that also helps the school with some operating costs as well, so they don't have to purchase those on their own. So Lincoln Heights is going to get one. They're receiving a grant for about $1,500, and they are putting in some match dollars with that. Also, Roger Bacon is going to have a similar grant. They're getting 5 of those, though, for their school. And then you also have the City of Loveland, who's going to be improving some of their downtown business recycling. So they're going to do some enhancements to collect more cardboard from their business district. And then finally, Gorman Heritage Farm is just going to buy some public recycling containers that they can have at their events, so they can encourage their patrons to recycle when they're away from home.
Okay, great. Are there any questions about these?
No questions.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for the explanation.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. All right, so those are some of the consent agenda items. Are there any questions related to the other consent agenda items?
No questions.
All right, I'm going to move that we approve of items 2 through 7.
Second.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Thank you. We have one travel item requesting authorization to travel at the county's expense. The auditor has one employee going to Reynoldsburg, Ohio. I'm going to move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Thank you. And then lastly, if there's nothing further, I will move that we go into executive session pursuant to RC Section 121.22G2 for property acquisition.
Second.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Thank you.